Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I'm so glad to stand before you, another opportunity to share my 8th speech, which was the most challenging speech, as I mentioned during our executive committee meeting on Wednesday. Nevertheless, I decided to use this topic because during the course of the meeting, we discussed ways to grow the organization, to take the club to the next level. Therefore, we need to realize what resources we have right here in the city of Newark. Would you all agree?
Yes.
So, with that being said, facts about Newark. Newark marked its 335th birthday in the year 2001. For those of you who do not know, Newark is divided into 4 chapters. The first was its Puritan origins. The second, the rise of its industrial and commercial empire. The third was the 20th century and its roller coaster ride into modern history. And fourth, its recent awakening, now being referred to as Newark's Renaissance. Would you all agree?
Yes.
Looking around the city today, it seems difficult to kind of imagine that the Puritans, the same people who settled in New England at the opening experiment, were the founders of Newark. The second chapter ushered in an era industry and commerce. Therefore, small homes, cottages, industries began to develop along Broad Street, which is a very busy street during the day, with products for export. Great developers, inventors encouraged Newark's industrial endeavors. The third era began with the 20th century, a century that was marked with boom, bust, peaks, valleys, hardships, and hope. Factories churned out products to where on a 24-hour basis, people were displaced and families were uprooted and destroyed. Unbeknownst to me, this downward trend seemed irreversible. But the development of New Newark movement in the 1950s by Mutual Benefit and Prudential was announced on the pages of the Newark Evening News. That's how hot and heavy this was during that time. In the late 1960s, though, shadows of poor housing, discrimination, crime, rioting, and a loss of a workforce were working against the city of Newark's future. But the firm hand of our first African-American mayor that was elected by the name of Kenneth Gibson was instrumental in implementing plans for another New Newark. However, 2 decades ago, though, applying the term Renaissance to Newark seemed unrealistic. It's kind of hard to get people to believe in your vision if you're a visionary and they don't see the vision. The downtown gateway towers were stunning. Newark International Airport has become the 5th busiest air center. We have now expanded our universities. We have now expanded our colleges. The new mayor and this current administration and council, they're bringing national recognition to the city. Newark is now being refurbished. The Newark Museum is now also being refurbished. It's a cultural asset. In the 2nd century of the service to the city, the Newark Public Library, which is one of the largest libraries here in the state, has already committed to expansion, highlighted plans for building and new improved facilities, which I found out during our executive committee meeting. When you want to use them as a venue, they've taxed a fee. Now you have to pay $150 or something, I believe our president shared with us. So now when we look at the facts about Newark, now let's move on with the facts. Some facts: Newark International Airport opened in 1928. The North Terminal was opened in 1953. Terminal A and B was opened in 1973, and Terminal C opened in 1988, with a $1 billion expansion program that launched in 1999 and served 58 airlines. Today, they have employed 18,500 employees. The tallest buildings. Dina and I often talk about the buildings here in the city of Newark. The National Newark Building, which is located at 744 Broad Street. How many of you have visited there? It's phenomenal. Would you agree? It's 465 feet, 36 stories. The Commerce Building, 1180, which is now the rental space, 1180 apartments, right? Right on Raymond Boulevard, 448 feet, 36 stories. The Prudential Plaza, which is located at 745 Broad Street, is 370 feet and 24 stories. In terms of communications, because we know that communications today is a way of the future, we have to meet people where they are. The Star Ledger, we have weekly newspapers, because see, in essence of growing the club, we need to realize what we have at our disposal. And as I shared with the other evening with our executive committee, there are other papers that we can tap into that will give us some growth and some momentum in terms of recruiting potential members. So we have the Italian Tribune, Luos Americano, the Velsburg Leader, we have the Portuguese Post, Essex News and Urban News. We have 3 television stations licensed to Newark. WNET, Channel 13, New Jersey, NJN Network, skip, I don't even want to talk about that. And 2 radio stations licensed to Newark, WBGO, which is 88.3, and WLIB. So Newark's commitment to culture and arts reflect the presence right here in the city. We have the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, which is the largest cultural center, serving as a model program and as an audience for diversity and educational issues. But unlike previous renewal eras, another element that makes this city truly great, having been born and raised here in the city, is the city's recreational attraction, music, fine dining, and entertainment. So, in closing, I would like you to discover that Newark is truly a gem in our own backyard. And as we continue to grow and as we continue to meet and we look for different places to host meetings and different venues that we can invite others to explore, I would like to pass out a couple of booklets. One is Go Newark. This is the official guide from City Hall. And here it gives you a listing of our notable events. It also talks about sports and entertainment. So you can take this and look through it at your leisure, as well as, this is my favorite one, the restaurant guide, because the other night the executive committee met at 494 Martini, and we were kind of trying to decipher where to go next. So these 2 pamphlets will definitely help us out as we move along. Thank you so much and enjoy your day.